Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
Out in the fields where the shadows run deep, they planted a lie we were too blind to keep. Flag in the wind, but the stars feel wrong. A Trojan horse rolls while we hum its song. Rust on the hinges, truths in decay. The wolves ain't hiding, they're out in the day. The war's on us, it's in our homes, in the wires and the words and the cold gray drones. A beast in the system, a fire in the sky. It's not a question of when, it's a matter of why. From a screen with a plastic grin, selling peace while the battle begins. A tyrant's code in the circuit's hum, the battle hymns written in the algorithm's drum. Look through the smoke, you'll see the gears, a face on the screen, but it feeds on our fears. The war's on us, it's in our homes, in the wires and the words and the cold gray drones. A beast in the system, a fire in the sky. It's not a question of when, it's a matter of why.
Now we're in Athens, Greece, right in front of the Acropolis. I think this is where democracy all started. It's kind of interesting. I don't know the exact details, of course, but I think didn't Plato start it or something? I don't know. But I know they killed Socrates right after he started it. A little bit like instant karma.
Instant karma.
Talk about instant feedback. I'm going to start off this idea of democracy, and right after they all killed him. It's kind of how it all works. I know it sounds like a good idea. Most of these things do, right? Communism sounds like a good idea, but no. It turns into what we got today. Which, some might say, well, it's better than anarchy. I don't know about that. But, the biggest thing is that people are so detached from their connection to source that nothing really works well no matter what. And if they were more connected to source again, to God, then you wouldn't even need any of these things. Everything would be just natural and good, and most people would be moral because they'd actually realize what this all is and stuff like that. Anyway, I've been in a lot of interesting locations lately, that's for sure. And we just got back from Liverpool, which was 4 full days. It was insane. Of morning to night, my daughter actually, who's just walking there, she was running the Tesla machine like 12 hours a day. And it was just jam-packed. Everyone wanted to get on it. So many people had cured a lot of the things they had in just one session. It was pretty incredible. And we've just been running from place to place. It's been incredible. Like 4 full days. The last day was a brunch and then a boat ride for the whole afternoon on the Liberland party boat. And actually the night that before we left, interestingly enough, was a blood moon in Serbia. So that was interesting, having a blood moon, is it like an eclipse, a blood moon eclipse on our last night in Serbia. And then we got here, which is like a whole, from 8 in the morning, or 7 in the morning. We didn't really get here till about 7 in the evening, because it's a drive from where we were to Belgrade, a few hours in the airport, a few hours flight. Then it's like an hour and a half to get even here from the airport. And there's no taxis here for some reason. Like none. Zero. Like seriously, none. You go on Uber and it's like, no. And you can't find a taxi anywhere. So you gotta walk a lot, and then we went out with a friend all night and didn't even get back to our Airbnb until 1 in the morning, from 7 in the morning in Serbia. And as soon as I got into bed, and actually my wife and kids stayed out because everything's flipped now. In the old days, I'd be out all night and they'd be back at the hotel. And now they're out all night and I'm back at the hotel. It was just me and the 2-year-old in bed. And I actually didn't know, but it felt like he was like going crazy. But I was like half asleep, and I reached over and touched him, and he wasn't moving at all. But it felt like he was going like this. And it turned out that as soon as we basically arrived here, there was a pretty major earthquake. Not too huge, but it was a 5.2 earthquake here in Athens. So that's interesting. We left on a blood moon. We arrived during an earthquake. Everything in my life is sort of like that, by the way. It's like, this is truly my true man show. You can't make up most of the stuff that happens to us. And like I said, we're just going nonstop. We're out here all day today. They're going to the museum right now. I'm going to continue doing this video. And then we're going up to the Acropolis. We haven't actually been there yet. And then we're going out to dinner with some friends. And that's just our typical day lately. Just nonstop from morning to evening. But I have such incredible energy. It's incredible. Like even my kids and stuff sometimes, they're like dragging behind. I'm like, come on. Like I have more energy than all of them. And a lot of it's because of the Tesla machine. Like this person who's got he's a member of they're a member of the Tesla Club, Kelby. I'm astonished at how much energy I have these days. I've been fascinated with my Tesla and using it every day. I work a day job 40 hours Monday to Friday. I get home in the afternoon and I'm currently building a massive deck and wood sauna on my property. Sauna, awesome. I've been working by day and I've been hammering lumber until the sun sets each night. I haven't been feeling tired in the evenings, but I still am able to be in bed by 11:30 p.m. with no trouble falling asleep. I wake up at 4 a.m. now without an alarm set, and I'm wide awake, ready for my morning Tesla session while the coffee brews. I feel so good, so energized, and so productive. I don't know how I managed to live without this machine. I'm really feeling superhuman now. I'm consistently blown away by the positive impact this machine is having on my life, and I feel so blessed and fortunate to be part of this. To Jeff, I think recommending this machine was the best buy recommendation you ever called. Thank you. It 1000% is the best buy recommendation I've ever done, and I've had most of the best buy recommendations in human history. Of course, I'll never be on CNBC, I'll never be on the Economist cover or anything like that, but I recommended Bitcoin at $3 in 2011. It's $110,000 right now. It's like 5 million% or something like that. I recommended Ethereum at $2. It's $4,000 right now. Like who's doing stuff like this? But that is nothing compared to the Tesla. You can check it out, by the way, at tesla.club. And that's their whole slogan, is becoming superhuman. Yeah, I've just been going nonstop. LibraPoco was amazing, by the way. It was absolutely amazing. It was so incredible. A lot more people than last year, too. And the speakers were incredible. I highly recommend you get it. The replays, they're available now, by the way. They're really fast now. And so many of them, by the way, like so many of the talks were like self-work talks. Like even Max Egan was blown away by it. He's like, this is incredible what this event's turned into. And by the way, Christoph Melchizedek did an incredible virtual presentation that Max Egan sat in the audience and watched. And Christoph kept saying things that is what Max Egan's been saying, but in a completely different way. Like how this whole thing's run by AI. It has been for like millennia. I know that's hard for people to believe, but it's true, probably. And how it keeps recycling us, and that's what Max Egan says, how they keep putting us back in the mainframe. But Christoph talks about it from a spiritual angle, and he also tells you how you can basically get out of that loop. And that's at LibraPoco as well. So highly recommend it. Go to LibraPoco.com and get the replays. There's a bunch of stuff on how to do the work, change your life, change your own reality. That's really what an Archipoco and LibraPoco is mostly about now. Anyway, as I'm doing this, and as the police have someone pulled over here, should look at what's going on in the world. I should mention my last video that I had an error in it. I talked about this little girl in Scotland with an axe, and then I put in a video, or we did, like our team, of a little girl getting arrested. That actually wasn't the same girl, and it wasn't even in Scotland. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to just figure this stuff out as we go. Like while I'm doing like non-stop at LibraPoco. So mistakes can happen. I do apologize for that. But so I just quickly looked at what's going on. I see Pam Blondie's still out there just grabbing guns and seizing guns off the street, which now the right-wing people all love, which I don't know if you remember, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, definitely 30 years ago, 50 years ago, a lot of the right-wing people were like, if the government, there is no illegal guns. And really legality is all BS anyway. And now they're all cheering it on. As Pam Blondie, she posts like every day. I see this like every day. She's like, here's how many guns we seized. And you see all these red hat Q Patriot people all like happy about it. Like, keep going, good job. I'm pleased to report another 105 arrests have been made and 12 illegal guns taken off the streets of Washington district criminals. Yeah, make DC safe again. 1,283 arrests, 135 illegal guns seized. And the right-wing people are cheering it on. So it's so funny with the right-wing people, because if it was like Obama or Biden saying they're going out and they're going to be like trying to seize a lot of guns from people, they'd go insane. But when it's their side, because they're under mind control, and it's literally mind control. And they've been put into this box that there's two sides, and their side's right, the other side's wrong. And whatever their side does is always good, and whatever the other side does is always bad. And they just keep flipping it back and forth all the time. And meanwhile, a lot of the people who are saying, oh, Trump, he's going to be like the peace president. And a lot of people are saying, well, if Biden or Kamala Harris gets in, they're going to start World War III. Well, it doesn't matter who's in, just FYI. They don't do anything. Trump doesn't do anything. Kamala doesn't do anything. Biden clearly doesn't do anything. I think that's pretty clear, right? Bush doesn't do anything. None of them do anything. They're TV puppets. They're actors. But people still don't get it. And you know why? Mind control. Their entire lives. They watched a lot of that stuff their entire lives on the television programming and all that kind of stuff. And they've been pushing this narrative that these are legitimately two, competing groups. And, in some ways they kind of are, but in general, the whole thing is all the Jones Plantation. So if you haven't seen the Jones Plantation, that will actually break you out of your mind control. So if you're like, no, Jeff, I disagree, Jeff, that they actually are two real sides, it's totally organic, and they fight each other, and this sort of a thing. Okay, I'm telling you how you can break out of that mind control. Do you have the courage to look at your own mind control? Or
you can't handle the truth.
And you know what your mind will do? If your mind kind of knows it's got cognitive dissonance right now, and it doesn't want to know the truth, it will find every reason it can, like any reason, to never see the Jones Plantation. But I'm trying to help you. This will break you out of this horrible mind control that's been put into you that keeps you stuck in all these problems forever. And all you have to do is watch a good movie. Get some popcorn, sit down with the family, and just watch it at the end. You'll be like, oh, I get it now. It breaks the mind control. Anyway, you probably won't do it. Or most of the people who watch this already know this. So it's pointless. I don't know why I do this. Although I just kind of enjoy it. This is a pretty nice little walk here. Wish I had apples with me. That's the hardest part about traveling. And speaking of things that the right-wing people don't like, they don't like it when the government's all tyrannical and stuff, except when it is for things that they like. And we saw that just recently with the U.S. military. So there's a boat. It was somewhere in the Caribbean, somewhere near Venezuela, I think. And the U.S. government said, well, they know there's 11 people on it and they've got some drugs. Well, in the old days, for the kids out there, if that was really a situation they really wanted to handle, they'd bring their boats out and their guns, and they'd stop the guys and they'd search the boat, and if they found the drugs, which shouldn't be illegal, They might take them to a court where they might get a trial. I know this sounds crazy nowadays. Because, you know, democracy, you don't get any trials or anything anymore. And now they just blow it up. They just blew it up.
Mr. Secretary, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow.
Was there
that is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco-terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
Is this what Trump and all the Trump people wanted? Because I don't remember any of this. I don't remember any of them mentioning they want the U.S. government to find anyone, and I mean anyone, on Earth who might be or might have some chemicals or plants and just blow them up, murder them. I don't remember that at all. It's weird that way. But no, now it's a big thing. It's like, well, those drugs, it might be some fentanyl, which is an opiate, and actually makes people who are so basically depressed and they can't handle living in a place like the U.S. anymore because it's, you know, living in complete slavery, under complete mind control with most people, poverty, stuff like that. A lot of people, and the whole culture is so bad. It's all materialistic, so everyone's traumatized. Everyone's just trying to get more money and stuff. And a lot of people are like, I can't handle this. If I could take a pill and make it all go away, I would, and that's what they do. And sometimes, because if you take a little too much of that fentanyl stuff, you don't wake up, which, you know, doesn't really affect anyone except for that person. But no, they're like, oh, they're trying to bring that thing to the U.S. and murder Americans. Well, if anything, those Americans are ordering it, like Uber Eats online, and they want that thing because that's what they want. You know, land of the free. And but they pose it as, well, they're trying to kill Americans. Because, yeah, the fentanyl is killing all kinds of people who don't take fentanyl. It just, you know, just happens. And the same with the guns, right? They're like, the guns kill people. If you actually have a brain, if you listen to what they're saying, they're actually insane. They're like, hey, look at this. Yeah, it's a piece of metal. Yeah, it killed a bunch of people. It did? Okay, show me. Can you, like, show me the footage of it? That thing killing a bunch of people. No, never does. It's a guy or a person, usually a tranny actually, that is under MK mind control, who usually kills a bunch of people, but then they're like, it's the guns. It's guns the problem, or it's the drugs. But that's what they're basically doing now. So it's the war on drugs all over again, but it's actually all a complete, once again, fraud and lie, and it's not what they say it is, because they don't care about that stuff. The CIA is the biggest drug dealer on earth. They have been forever. The whole Afghanistan thing, that was all CIA. That was actually like the Bush, the Clintons, they're the biggest drug dealers. So do they care about it? No. But they use it to kind of do what they want. And even like the Mexican cartels, the higher level ones are trained by Israel, and they are usually CIA backed. And that's just what they do. And a bunch of them are all like, El Chapo's wife wears like the Star of Moloch. So none of this stuff's ever what it seems. But basically what they're saying is Venezuela, like every person in Venezuela, or just the landmass of Venezuela, is trying to kill Americans. It doesn't make any sense unless you're highly fluoridated or have multiple booster shots. Then everything kind of makes sense because you're so foggy. You can't really think too good. But what's this really all about? Well, there's always numerous agendas, and even those aren't what they seem. For example, Nicolas Maduro, who basically took over Venezuela after Hugo Chavez destroyed the place with communism, and he did too. Like, this guy is not a good guy. And there's a lot of evidence that he's Jewish. So he's like undercover, like, this whole thing's a show. They told you on 60, they told you.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Quite a few people say to me things like, Jeff, it's not all one big club.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
And they say that, you know, there's numerous groups fighting over power and stuff like that. And to a degree, yes, there is. Absolutely, of course there is. They're not all on the exact same page. But in general, they kind of, most of them are. And if you look into all these people like Maduro or Putin, who's a young global leader, they all act like they're on different sides. But the whole thing is a giant, the whole Earth's a tax farm for the same people. But that said, I should point out that people can change and people can try to break away from things like that, and that can happen, and I'm open to it. And actually we're going to see a ton more of that happening as the Christic consciousness is brought back into this world, which people like Christoph Melchizedek are helping to do. And we're going to see that over the next few years. So you're actually going to see some people who are doing really bad stuff all of a sudden change and try to do the right thing. And even try to even know what the right thing is. Because they don't. They've been under like this false mimic, satanic sort of control. Most people in this world are. So who knows, like maybe Maduro is in some ways not completely in the club, and maybe he's trying to break out of it. And this is what people have said about Putin, and maybe him too. I don't know. I haven't met any of these people. As far as I'm concerned, these people don't even really exist. They're all in my scrying mirror. The only things I see with my eyes is the only thing I believe is actually semi-real, and even that, I don't believe any of this is real. That's not real. I'm not real. You're not real. So that's where I go with. But you now have the U.S. Now Pete Hegseth with his Knights Templar tattoo just went to Puerto Rico, and they're like getting all their military in Puerto Rico, and they're getting ready to attack Venezuela. But you know, there was people like Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. He did some incredible things, and you know, I'm no fan of a lot of the stuff that any of these guys do, but as far as a leader of a country and a president or dictator, whatever you want to call it, he did a lot of incredible things for Libya, and he spoke up about a lot of the truth. He said Big Pharma's going to try to kill everyone. All of a sudden, Hillary Clinton had him killed.
We came, we saw, he died.
Remember, a bunch of African presidents all spoke up about the COVID. They said it was all to kill people, and all of them were killed. There was like 4 of them or more. So these things can happen. So is that what's going on with Maduro right now? Because here's what he's been saying.
Me dijeron exactamente lo que hay que hacer con el diablo, con los símbolos diabólicos que maneja Elon Musk. Miren su perfil y los símbolos diabólicos que tiene en su pecho. Son sectas satánicas del poder estadounidense que han articulado sectas como la de Milei, o en Venezuela sectas satánicas como el fascismo que ha atacado al país. Es una lucha de carácter espiritual entre el bien y el mal, entre el odio, la mentira, el engaño, el fascismo, porque ustedes saben todo el ocultismo que hubo detrás de Hitler.
So what he said there is like a copy of what I've been saying. So me and Nicolas Maduro in this case are saying the same things. People like Javier Milei, Elon Musk, and so many, Donald Trump, all of them are all in a satanic death cult. So can you see now why the U.S. might be wanting to attack Venezuela? Now, is Maduro controlled opposition? Is this all part of the show? I don't know. Probably, because that's usually how it works. But in either case, he's saying what I'm basically saying, and now the U.S. is getting ready to attack Venezuela, which, by the way, I know a fair amount of people who go to Venezuela or live there even. I've even been there a couple times. I was there a few years ago, and it was really bad when I was there. It was like the worst of the worst times. But I've heard from people I know who even live there that it's gotten way, way, way better in the last few years. So actually Venezuela is starting to get quite a bit better. And it's not because of Maduro, I don't think, but I think just like with all communism, it eventually just stops. They just can't keep it going. And then you revert to some freedom, and then everything gets better very quickly. So Venezuela is actually getting a lot better, and now the U.S. is coming in and going to probably attack it with a guy who everyone says should win the Nobel Peace Prize. It's crazy. And they're just blowing up boats. Any boats in the area? Like, don't take a boat around there. You might get blown up. January 6ers deserve due process. I don't give a shit. Blow up that random boat. Yeah, speaking of the Nobel Peace Prize president, he just changed the name of the Department of Defense, which was stupid to begin with. It should be the Department of Offense, to the Department of War. And actually had the guys come in and take all the letters off the wall and everything. I just need a Nobel Peace Prize and a Department of War. And Pete Hegseth is all over it. He's already changed all of his profiles. He changed his profile name to War. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. United States Secretary of War. You can find him at war.gov. All right, bro, we get it. And meanwhile, I said I thought the Epstein stuff was kind of over. I thought they had done enough gaslighting at this point to make it just go away forever. But it still isn't going away, which is kind of cool and great. They just can't get it to go away. And they've gone actually through so many different levels of like excuses for all this stuff. Like, for example, Donald Trump said, "We fell out over a piece of property." Starts to put on some clown makeup. "He stole girls from my spa." Puts on more clown makeup. "It's all a Democrat hoax." Puts on the wig. And here's the latest one. "I was an FBI informant."
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
I gotta admit, I've been pretty wrong on a lot of this Epstein stuff. I thought they'd actually have some trials for a few people. I said that for a long time. I said they'll probably just put a few guys on trial. They'll go on for years. There'll be lower level guys. It won't be Bill Gates. It won't be Donald Trump. It won't be Prince Andrew. It won't be Bill Clinton. It won't be those sort of people. It'll just be a couple lower level guys. And then they'll just kind of make it go away. By the time they're done, everyone will be enslaved and basically in smart city concentration camps. But I was wrong on that. I did not expect at all for Donald Trump to say the whole thing's a hoax. It's just made up by the Democrats. And the reason I didn't think that is because it's so stupid that I thought, well, it didn't even come into my mind. To just say it was all in your imagination. None of it's real. I never thought they would ever say that. And I never, ever in a million years thought Trump would then say that he was in, he's at all these places and, but it was because he was an FBI informant. That's interesting. This Sink Uyghur guy I don't like very much, but, every now and then people have the right comments. I don't understand why Mike Johnson saying Trump was an FBI informant in Epstein case is not getting more coverage. That's huge. You know how they make people informants? When they catch them doing the same thing and use threats of prosecution to get them to turn on the others. Yeah, that's usually how they do it. So is that what Trump was doing? Just incredible. There's just so many great things online about it. Like Amber speaks up. We know Trump wasn't an FBI informant because he would have told the world he was the very best informant ever by now. And that's totally true. And Stu Peters posted this. Just found an old pic of Donald Trump back when he was a federal informant. Trump was an FBI informant. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. But you can imagine if he was. Then you have Bill Gates. I was an informant too. It's just incredible all the things that they've done. They're putting out the binders. having all the Zionist media come out of the White House, all just waving them. And when people eventually got the binders, like a day or two later, it was just all full of black ink. And on the very front page, it said, "For the most transparent administration in world history." And then to go from that to, no, it's not real. And then to say that Trump was actually an FBI informant, that's why he was so involved in all this stuff. Because he was like super involved in a lot of stuff. Jeffrey Epstein called Trump his best friend. There's more photos of Trump with Epstein than anyone else on Earth, by far. Like, way more. No one even comes close. I know some people are like, yeah, well, he wasn't raping little kids. He might have been like kind of raping or having sex with underage girls, which is a little different than little kids. And, they might have been forced to be there, and they might have been kind of like sex slaves and stuff. But, it's not as bad as being a pedophile. But for the Epsteinth time, an underage woman is called a child. But who knows? All this stuff is so crazy. This is like the best apocalypse, the best 3D video game ever. All this soap opera stuff, and that's really what it is. That's what most of this stuff is. But it's a good thing that we have AI for the news now, because you can't watch the news, obviously. That's CIA propaganda and has no truth in it almost at all. But now we have like AI news, so we can at least watch stuff like this, which is way more close to the truth.
Breaking news, we've uncovered the 2 minutes and 38 seconds that have been redacted from Epstein's jail footage.
Oh, finally. Now we can finally prove it wasn't Israel.
Roll the clip, Brittany.
Give us the files! Okay. I am getting them off my Premiere right now. Hurry up!
All right, looks like we uncovered it, and
my grandparents were into Pisa cost.
Looks like we lost it.
What happened to the missing clips?
The court said we don't have to show them because we're busy balming the innocent. That was antiseptic. Bergstein.
Why haven't you censored people screaming about America first and Jesus? It's all Hamas propaganda.
We're working on it. As you know, we've already made it illegal to burn the Jew flag. The American one, well, that's still up for debate.
Questioning the sand situation is now illegal, right, Jackie?
That's right, John. No one's starving. No one's being genocided. Just ask Zioberg.
And if you look at the people from Hamas, when they get photographed, they're well fed. None of them are hungry. I guarantee you, look at their faces, look at their bodies. And instead of food, they could use some Ozempic.
Ozempic, when you just can't stop stuffing your gluttonous face.
Side effects include permanent thyroid cancer and gut dysbiosis.
Ozempic, the easy way out.
That's a good reason to trust your doctor.
Really, though. And guess who runs Big Pharma?
Every single time, Brittany?
We go to Shapiro-Stein for the hot take.
Just because 85% of American Israeli Jews support the genocide in Gaza doesn't mean it's the Jews. Just ask God. We're chosen. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Shapiro-Stein. I let the producer bend me over behind the studio, still waiting to see the results on my paycheck.
In other news, here's how the influencers feel about the Sand People.
How could they talk about killing children? We're not advocating to target children, but forgive us if we don't give a shit. If, everybody there dies. It's just the way we feel. It's just the way Israelis feel.
Ugh, I'm sick to my stomach.
This is all part of draining the swamp, Jackie. Let him finish.
If you gave me a button to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second.
Babe, did you pay off the medical bills?
Most Israelis
if that's agree. The choice, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you to call the insurance hawk.
It's all 4D chess, honey. He should have just called the insurance hawk. Right, Jackie?
Didn't they do COVID-19? I mean, same with 9/11. Like, why can't I notice? JFK and the fake weapons of mass destruction, too?
Yeah, and as Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg were all sitting beside Trump having dinner, Mark's safe from believing anyone in power is coming to save us. And Mark Zuckerberg, who actually kicked off Donald Trump off Facebook when he was president, your name is Elon now. It's incredible. Like, to be a politician, really, is to be able to say anything, like the exact opposite things, like from one day to the next, and kind of make it so that, like, people don't really notice that you go from saying one thing to the exact opposite thing the next day, and no one goes, well, were you lying yesterday or today? Or do you change your mind every day massively? Because that's what they do. Like, here's Donald Trump as an example. When Barack Drone Bomber was president, and Donald Trump was going crazy because Barack Drone Bomber was putting out executive orders, which I think Trump's on like his 300th now, which is like hundreds more than any other president in history. And on top of that, he also kind of said Barack Drone Bomber plays golf too much when Donald Trump is always playing golf.
Signing executive orders is not the way our country was supposed to be run. Nobody ever heard of an executive order. Then all of a sudden Obama, because he couldn't get anybody to agree with him, he starts signing them like they're butter.
You have a president that signs executive orders because he can't get anything done.
He signs on immigration and on other things. I want to not use too many executive orders, folks. The executive orders are an outrage. We have a president that can't lead. He said, the hell with it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to rest and I want to do other things, including going out play golf. This guy played hundreds of rounds of golf. Because I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf. And I love golf. I think it's one of the greats, but I don't have time. Obama ought to get off the golf course and get down there. Because he doesn't have enough time because he's playing so much golf. I just want to stay in the White House and work my ass off.
Yeah, and meanwhile, all these guys have been making so much wealth over basically the last 13 years or so, since 2012. Like, look at this. Elon Musk's wealth. In 2012, he was only worth $2 billion. Now he's worth $436 billion. Jeff Bezos, $18 billion in 2012. Now $244 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, 2012, $17 billion. Now $257 billion. Meanwhile, the federal minimum wage was $7.25 in 2012, and is still $7.25. It's not the start of an oligarchy. We're in the thick of it. Not that I think there should be a minimum wage, but it just goes to show that's basically like the wages of your average person has not changed at all. While these guys, it's been the biggest transfer of wealth in like world history in the last decade or two, from all the regular people to all these sort of people. It's been incredible. Another person who's become incredibly wealthy, he was already wealthy before, but incredibly wealthy because Palantir is now one of the biggest companies on earth. And like 5 years ago, it barely even existed. Like, what a success story. Basically started by the CIA with Peter Thiel. And it's so incredible. I think it's starting soon. There's very few things I look forward to. I'll tell you one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hockey season starting. If I'm going to stay in the Matrix, I like hockey, I'm sorry. And, you know, for hockey people out there, if the team that I've kind of cheered for my entire life, because I was born there and I went to the games all the time. I was actually one of the top players in Edmonton until I was about 12 years old. I was in the newspapers and stuff. Like, it was my life. Like, hockey is basically a big part of your life in a place like Edmonton, Canada. And I grew up watching Wayne Gretzky, front row. I'd get like seats for like $5 because I always knew a way to get around everything. My entire life, I always could figure it out. I'd wait till the end of the first period, there'd be no customers left, and some of the scalpers would still have at least one ticket left. And I couldn't offer them nothing, so I'd usually offer them $5. And I didn't even care where the seat was because there was always one seat in the front row that was always empty. I don't know why. Maybe the guy died, I don't know why. And I'd sit front row watching the Oilers win like 5 Stanley Cups when I was like in my teens and stuff like that. So, yeah. And I'll just say this. If the Oilers didn't have the two of the best players on earth, and I mean on earth ever, Connor McDavid is unbelievable. It's like watching something like a cheat code in a video game, the stuff he does. And Leon Draisaitl is also incredible. If they weren't on the team, I wouldn't care anywhere near as much. But it's so cool that the Oilers have 2 of the best players on earth now. So, yeah, I like watching it. So, I was saying how I can't wait until Peter Thiel does his Antichrist 4-part lecture. I'm so, I can't wait for that. And I also can't wait for a hockey season to start. It starts in a few weeks. And I should mention too, my wife, who's like full Mexican, never was into hockey until we went to the finals this year in Edmonton. She actually told me, I wasn't talking about hockey, nothing. We're on this trip. And she said, you know what? I'm a little sad. I said, why? She goes, because there's no hockey right now. I was like, me too. Me too. Summers are so hard for me. I know it's stupid. Post down below. Jeff cares about bread circuses. I know. But it's just something I like, okay? If I'm going to stay in the Matrix and try to help you guys out, I'm going to watch some hockey. I just am. It's just something I've always enjoyed and still do. But almost as much, I can't wait to see these lectures from Peter Thiel. Because it's going to be hours and hours for 4 days. The clips, they better be allowing photography, or someone better have like those smart glasses or whatever and record it and post it online. Because we got to see this. What's he going to say? He could barely talk to begin with. He's mostly just going to be stuttering and putting up a thing and going, I'm not the Antichrist. It's going to be incredible.
Look, I'm not, without going into all the details, I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel.
So that's what I'm really looking forward to in the next few weeks is hockey starting up and getting like the 4-part lecture from Peter Thiel on the Antichrist. This is going to be gold. Gold.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold.
But I saw this post and I think she's onto something. Amy et al. Said, Beyonce released a song called Bodyguard to hide the Google search results about her year-long affair with her bodyguard. The same thing is happening here with the Peter Thiel Antichrist. Yeah, this is like the new, what do they call that, SEO? Like people do things so they get better search results or hide search results they don't want. That's basically what I think Peter Thiel's trying to do here. Is do a 4-part lecture on the Antichrist. So when you go to search Peter Thiel Antichrist, all you find is him stuttering and stammering, saying he's not the Antichrist, and you don't see all the people talking about it. Like, this is the new SEO kind of stuff going on. It's incredible. It's so amazing. Meanwhile, Palantir continues to help Israel do its genocide with that Alex Karp or whatever his name is, another Jewish billionaire. It's so sick and evil. But how many people are really talking about that? Actually, quite a few. But, you know, I don't hear it a lot from a lot of people. It's pretty incredible. But, you know, even things like, you see things like this, and I should kind of put a caveat here, that in the age of AI, I'm not going to know which videos are real or not, basically from a month ago to forever. So if some of these turn out not to be real, like, sorry, I try to see if they're real. I don't have a lot of time. I'm like in a different country every day, doing all kinds of stuff. But if this is real, this is kind of interesting. 2 service members were arrested for exposing Israel's genocide against the Palestinians with our taxpayer dollars. This isn't a free country if you can't criticize a foreign nation who's committing international war crimes.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide.
Rise up! Rise up, America! Rise up! It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time. We're going out to the voting dog.
Thank you for your service.
But that, of course, is no surprise. That's what I said it's going to be happening more and more. If you speak out against Israel, which if you speak up for Israel, you are basically promoting one of the most evil sort of entities, you could say, to ever exist in the history of the world. Not every single person in Israel, but even with the polls, and I don't even trust the polls, but it appears that a lot of people in Israel fully support what they're doing, which is a full-on genocide. Like, no one on earth could tell me that they support Israel and ever convince me why it's okay. Because of what's happening. Basically what they're saying is they are in support of genocide of babies and stuff because, you know, those babies might grow up and hate them. Well, if that was the issue, there's going to be way more of that now. Way more. But you see it all across the West if you speak up against it, especially in places like the UK. The UK is like insane. I just saw Gareth Ike at Liverpool. He was telling me it's getting brutally bad there in the UK now. And here's a decorated war vet who was at a Free Palestine rally, and here's what the cops are doing to him. I hate to say it because, you know, a lot of these people, most of them, believe that people like that guy were doing the right thing and fighting for the right side in all these wars and stuff. The sad thing is, and I hate to always be the one who has to like point it out, they were fighting for evil people and they got fooled into it all. Like, how do you end up being from Iowa and all of a sudden you're like on a beach in France killing Germans? Like, they got fooled into it. Everyone did. And it's sad. It's all just sad. So much of the world is just sad. And you know, it's all the same types of people, the same sort of group who keeps fooling people into all this stuff. But yeah, that's what's going on. It's going to get way crazier probably. As it goes from MAGA to MEGA, and very obviously. But there's a lot of people really like not only waking up to all this, but actually standing up in their own ways to this stuff. And I'm rarely ever kind of ashamed of any events that happen in Mexico. Like usually if something happens in Mexico, usually I'm quite proud of it. And not proud because I'm Mexican, or not proud just because I live there. But kind of like, well, that's why I live where I do live. Because the people there in general are awesome. And they're almost always on the same sort of page as me. Not always. Some are more communist, and that's not cool. But in general, the Mexican people are incredible. And this was pretty incredible. This was in Mexico, Mexico City. Massive crowd, and actually just a beautiful sort of a protest, you could say, against Israel and for basically the children being starved and tortured and killed in Palestine. Then you have Greta Thunberg, who is basically an actress. She's basically come out and said that. Like when they catch her off camera on a hot mic, she basically laughs about how she's an actress. And she was kind of raised that way by like Antifa type parents and stuff. She's now a multi-millionaire just for saying that she's against the global warming and the carbon and all that kind of stuff. And whether she believes it or not, doesn't really matter all that much. But she's basically been one of the front people for it. But here's the thing. She's actually doing something that looks good right now. Looks good to me. She's apparently on a flotilla with a bunch of people trying to bring aid to Palestine.
This genocide is being enabled and fueled by our governments, our institutions, our companies, our elected officials who are supposed to represent us.
Now here's the thing. Now is this part of a controlled opposition type thing, which she might not even know, where they're setting her up and gonna make a big something out of this, or is it all organic, which is quite unlikely. Not to say that some of the people, like even most of the people or all the people who are doing this with her might fully believe they're doing this, doing the right thing, and they're not doing it because they're getting paid and they're not being instructed on anything. I totally believe that's very possible. It's totally possible. So it's interesting that she's on this flotilla. And as I mentioned earlier, people can change. This is one thing I actually want to make a really big point about. Because as conspiracy theorist types, which is really just conspiracy realists, we've seen people always go from like something that looks okay to like evil, never the other direction, for the most part, for all of our lives. And it's gotten to the point where a lot of us, including myself to a degree, kind of are always suspicious of anyone, and we don't think anyone could ever actually change and actually do the right thing. Here's the point I want to make. If Christoph Melchizedek is right, he's saying it's going to start reducing the mimic/mirror, which you could also call satanic signal coming into this matrix. And the Christic, or the aligned source flame consciousness, that signal's going to start rising. So according to him, what we're going to see is some people who are doing a lot of evil stuff all of a sudden start to change and start doing what I would call the right thing. So I want to make that kind of clear, because I think we're going to start seeing that. So like with Greta, as an example, maybe she's starting to do more of the right thing, or maybe it's all just a controlled opposition. But I'm very open to people changing and doing the right thing. We could even see people like Donald Trump do a couple of the right things. As he starts to stop receiving as much of the satanic mimic mirror signal and more of the Christic intelligence signal, as a lot of people will, like everyone's that's going to be happening. So be open to the idea that even people that you were sure are completely on the evil, sort of bad, sort of side of things, of them actually changing over the next few years. So I don't know if that's Greta or not, but I'm open to the idea that it could be. I'm open to the idea that any of these people could change over the next few years. And we don't necessarily have to be incredibly suspicious of it. Now, it's good to be suspicious of everything, but if we do start to see some people that we thought were very evil being less evil, we should be more open to that actually being the case. Because what you don't want to do, if they're starting to do good things, is for people like myself and many others to stomp all over them and say they're lying. Now, maybe they are, though. That's the thing, right? And if they are, then we should say it. So what I'm saying is be open to the idea that some of these people are going to start changing over the next few years. And a bunch of them are going to get sick, and a bunch of them are going to die. A lot. Not all, but many.
Not all, but many.
So I've been seeing this Greta flotilla thing and kind of watching it, just like, okay, well, let's see. Is she actually doing the right thing for the right reasons, and this isn't like some sort of operation, or not? And it doesn't really matter if it is or not. It doesn't, really. But, just out of curiosity, is this that, or is it not? And then it was quite interesting. Drone strikes Gaza aid ship carrying activist Greta Thunberg, causing fire on deck. And at first, they're in the Tunisian waters or something. And at first, the Tunisian government said, no, it was just a cigarette, like they knew somehow. And it started a fire. But then this footage came out, which could be AI. So you don't know what's real anymore. Like, there's almost no point talking about any of this stuff. But a video did come out and it said that some sort of a drone dropped some sort of a flare onto one of the boats.
Sí.
Now, is it out of the realm of possibility that that was Israel? Absolutely not. Like, highly, highly likely. Especially if it's a real thing, right? If this is a real, true, good sort of a thing to try to save people in Palestine, then almost for sure it's the government of Israel doing that. So that's kind of interesting. We'll see what happens with that. All this stuff's interesting. You know, in the Matrix, it's super interesting, all this stuff. And then you have Trump, who met with Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and all these people talking about mRNA AI lethal injections. And he met with them just a few days ago. And then right after that, he came out and said that we should be cautious about removing vaccine mandates and stuff like that.
Well, I think we have to be very careful. Look, you have some vaccines that are so amazing. The polio vaccine, I happen to think, is amazing. A lot of people think that COVID is amazing. You know, there are many people that believe strongly in that. But you have some vaccines that are so incredible. And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very, it's a very tough position. So I'd give you an answer. I'll give you a feeling. But just initially, I heard about it yesterday, and it's a tough stance. Look, you have vaccines that work. They just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it, and they endanger other people. And when you don't have controversy at all, I think people should take it. Okay.
So that's interesting. Right after he meets with Bill Gates, he comes out and says, hey, we shouldn't be removing vaccine mandates and all that kind of stuff, all the kind of stuff you'd expect. But then the very next day, he released a thing saying all vaccines are poison, which is true. So let's recap here. Trump's schedule. Thursday dinner with Gates and Zuck about AI mRNA vaccines for everyone. Monday, he makes a post about how all vaccines are poison, so the Goyim believe that he's on their side. And that's the case, as Shannon Joyce said. Trump is not going to war with pharma. He's helping them by providing a reason to eliminate all the old vaccines because of thimerosal. Trump, RFK, and Bhattacharya have been heavily promoting Operation Warp Speed tactics to develop new universal mRNA and saMRNA shots for pharma to replace traditional vaccines. This isn't Trump waking up or doing the right thing or launching a war against lethal injections. This is a marketing campaign for the new mRNA technology. And that's most likely what that is. So they're so good at what they do. Because they know a lot of people are upset about all this. A lot of the MAGA people are like, we want all vaccines basically gone. Like, we want you putting all these people in jail, Bill Gates and all that kind of stuff. So he came out and said, yeah, all the vaccines are poison. And they're like, yes, you see? And as I was just saying, like, he could actually change and become less evil. And that could happen too. But what's most likely in this case? It's most likely that they're doing that and they're going to get rid of all the old lethal injections and put in these new ones, which are going to be like far, far, far worse, with like nanotech and everything in them. It's incredible. They're so smart. See, that's the thing. Your average person cannot. They are incapable of being intelligent enough, not to say I'm super intelligent, but this is all I've looked at for like 20 years. So to me, all this stuff's quite obvious. Your average person, they're just not capable of knowing all this information and to be able to know how they do all these things and to see it as easily as a person like myself can. It's just crazy. Like, there's levels and levels and levels of operations going on. And you got to wonder, like, why are they trying so hard to basically impoverish, make sick, make infertile, and kill almost everyone on Earth and get them nanotech and basically connected to the AI beast machine? Well, clearly, humans, to them, are very, very dangerous and very powerful beings. And they have to do trillions of dollars of stuff that they steal from those same humans every year to try to get them trapped. It's incredible. And they never stop either. Like, here's the latest. New NHS chickenpox vaccination program to protect children starting in January 2026. Oh, great. You know, there's lots of people who, I've heard this quite a bit. You know, Trump is doing some good things. And kind of, in some ways, a little bit maybe. But not too much, really. And he's actually continuing on way more sort of evil things that people can't even see yet. It's incredible. But I'm open to him kind of changing. It is possible. We're going to be going through some shifts here. This is going to be wild. I hope you make it for the next few years. I hope I need to, because this is going to be so interesting to watch. And people have said the same thing about RFK Jr. They're like, well, he's said a lot of good things, but then he doesn't really do most of those good things. And then he's pushing out this agenda, which is basically even way more evil. And he might not even know. But it's interesting because he was just on a show and he basically said what exactly they're putting out and how dangerous it is. And this is all the stuff that Trump, Gates, Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, all of them are trying to put out. And these are all supposed to be the people that he's on their side. And he's warning people about how dangerous and bad this is.
In Canada, and this is what the future is going to look like, we should all take a warning of what they did, of what the Trudeau government did in Canada. When the truckers, who were incredibly peaceful and disciplined, went to Ottawa to participate, to protest the mandates, the government sent police in to read all of the license plates on all the vehicles, and then to shut off the bank accounts of anybody who was the owner of that vehicle. So these people were never charged with a crime. They were certainly never convicted. And the government was able to punish them by shutting off their lifeline, shutting off their capacity to buy food for their children, to pay their mortgages, to pay tuition, and to do it without any due process or democratic participation. And that's the power right now that we're seeing. And with AI, with the growth of AI, the capacity of government to control us is, will be complete. Now, Bill Gates says one of his companies is putting up 61,000 low-altitude satellites to do Earth surveillance. He says that his company alone will be able to watch every square inch of the Earth at 24 hours a day. So, the capacity of people to escape that kind of surveillance and to live, free lives is going to be the power. What we're creating is this kind of turnkey totalitarianism. Mm. Or the next totalitarian regime that steps up and really wants to clamp things down. They're going to have all of these mechanisms in place like no regime has had it in human history.
This is going to be the most interesting time ever in the next few years, and probably even just starting this month. Maybe around September 23rd of this month, it might kick off. Which is kind of interesting too, because I'll actually be back in Mexico by then at my bunker ranch. And I kind of have this feeling that when it starts to kick off, that'll be when I'm back at my ranch, and my ranch will be done, which is basically will be done when we get back. Like, it all seems to match up that way. It's incredible. But what can you really do about most of this stuff, right? Not a lot, really. Like, it's all a show. The only thing that you can do is do the work yourself and actually get out of your biggest enemy. Even with all the stuff I just talked about, all these people trying to do all this evil stuff, by far your biggest enemy is yourself and your own mind. And your connection to source. If you're not connected to source, that's your biggest enemy. And you will actually create basically hell on earth. So do the work on yourself, get physically clean, mentally clean, get out all your traumas. It takes a while, it might take you years. Meditate, get closer to source, get connected more with source. That's the only thing you can do. It's the only thing that will actually change anything. Nothing will actually change anything until you yourself change. So that should be your total focus. And when it comes to that, one of the things that is so incredible to get yourself to like physical perfect health and also to help you meditate is plasma. I still can't believe that I'm like the only person basically in the world talking about this. It's so weird. Like I just met with a friend and his wife's not doing very well. And she's got multiple sclerosis. And I've been telling him for a year that I've got a thing that will very likely heal most of that problem. And I also mentioned a bunch of it's also trauma, because I can see that. And I recommended they talk to my hypnotherapist. They've got a lot of money, so money's not an issue. And between the hypnotherapist helping her with her traumas and the Tesla machine, I have no doubt, like zero, that she'll be in perfect health within a few weeks or max a few months. And he actually got the Tesla machine like a year ago. He hasn't even used it yet. And he makes up every excuse for why. And that's your mind. Your mind, it's incredible. And I'm sitting there telling them, and I'm like, listen, we had a lady at Acapulco this year who had multiple sclerosis. She could barely walk. She actually fell a few times trying to get to the Tesla machine with a cane. And after 5 days on the Tesla machine, she threw away her cane and she was way better. And they just looked at me like, yeah, maybe. Like, do you think I'm lying? Or, like, I've known them for like decades. But it's incredible. Like, I can't really get anyone who I know to like understand what's going on here. It's incredible. That's been the story of my whole life. Tell people about the internet in like 1992. And I was like, you're crazy. Quit my job at a bank and said I'm going to start an internet company. They all said I was crazy. What's the internet? That's just a fad. Bitcoin, $3. Oh, that's crazy computer money. You're crazy. Now I'm like plasma and hardly anyone listens to me. It's so bizarre. It's a good thing I don't really care if they listen or not. But I would like to see them listen, because I'd like to see their lives improve dramatically. I think that'd be great. But who can help them? I actually can't help them. They have to help themselves. And that's part of the reason I read out a lot of these testimonials from the Tesla people, because there's so many every day now with so many incredible stories, to kind of just make sure you know, at least you know, that this is real and it's basically miraculous. There's no other word for it. Like Michael, wow, what an interesting week. I already told you all about when I took my 84-year-old dad to the specialist a few days ago, and the good news we received when we were told that his right leg, which has 2 of the 3 arteries completely clogged, has improved to where that in its current condition they are no longer talking about amputation or taking an artery from his arm and putting it into his leg to increase his blood flow. We're still waiting to see if the blood flow has in fact increased, but I'm convinced it has based on his healed toe. Move forward a few days later and we got his blood test results concerning his chronic myogenous leukemia, which he's been taking meds to keep in control for the past 20 years. And according to them, the meds are the reason why his leg arteries are clogged. What a surprise. I think it was from the COVID shots, but whatever. Our family doctor got the results and was all smiles when he told my mom that he is out of the blue in complete molecular remission. This means he's in a state in which sensitive lab tests, like genetic or molecular tests, can no longer detect the presence of cancer cells. I felt euphoric later as I was driving and thinking to myself, not only did I save my dad's leg, but I most likely have done something no expert was able to do. With no medical training, I may have just cured cancer using an open mind and a 6-week-old Tesla machine at my side, which I call Master Blaster. Everyone names their Tesla machine. To Jeff, thank you. I know you complained that no one seems to be listening to you. The truth is, we are listening to you and your message. That's why many of us are part of the Tesla Club, making this world a better place. Yes, I do know that some people do listen, and that's great. It's just incredible how few people actually even listen to any of this. Like, put in the comments below. I was thinking about this the other day. Who's been more right on most of the major things on Earth for the last 30 years? I'm not tooting my own horn, but I was thinking the other day, I was like, Bitcoin at $3, nailed the internet right off the bat. Plasma, said the COVID shots, so the whole COVID thing, it doesn't exist, and they were going to use the vaccines to genocide everyone. It goes on and on. Who's been more right on more things than me? And who talks about me? No one. Zero. But it's cool, like, that I do help some people. And it does actually feel pretty good to do that. Like, I do, it's actually one of my favorite things, is to read the testimonials on the Tesla Club. I read it like every day, and there's like dozens of them. Like this one. Ethan, short update today. I did a ridiculous, to me, number of push-ups. My go-to exercise. 104 sets of 25, sets spaced out according to breath recovery, approximately 2 to 3 minutes. Then 3 sets of 25 easier inclined push-ups. This was literally impossible a couple weeks ago before the Tesla. I'm 58 and haven't been able to do regular, consistent workouts for probably 7 years due to excessive pain and recovery times. I'm super optimistic I'll get in the best shape of my mature life very soon. So he hasn't really been able to work out in like 7 years. Now he's doing like 100 push-ups, like no problem. That is very typical. Here's Jackson. Hey guys, first time posting here. I've had my plasma generator for about 6 weeks now and I've been using it just about every day. I missed 4 days since I've had it. First thing I noticed, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and be out of breath and would take me hours to get back to sleep. Taking vitamin B helped this a little bit. Now I sleep all through the night and have a restful sleep. I have a lot more energy. I have less brain fog. I recover from workouts much faster. My skin looks much better. Also, I'm doing some heavy duty detoxing, chelation therapy. The plasma makes the detox symptoms a little less unpleasant. Many thanks to Jeff and the Tesla team. And also, his hay fever's gone. And that's something that we've definitely heard a lot from a lot of people. Any sort of allergy stuff just gone with the Tesla machine. Like, how valuable is this Tesla machine? And who even knows about it? Nobody. It's incredible. My whole life's been like this. And most people think I'm crazy. It's incredible. I really don't know what to say. And there's so many people in Acapulco that had so many incredible things. Like there was this one lady, she's had a problem with her leg for 40 years. And she had real problems even just walking in general. She did one 20-minute session with my daughter, who was so incredible at Acapulco. She was working 12 hours a day, and she actually, at the end of the 12 hours every day, she was full of energy because she was always using the plasma. And so this lady did a 20-minute session, and she said she was like running around like she's never been able to do for 40 years. So you did the Tesla and you had a bad knee, is that what you said?
I did. I had an accident 41 years ago.
41 years ago?
Yeah. I've had bone-on-bone damage in my left knee for 41 years. Did all the painkillers and stuff, stopped them, coped with the pain, used the Tesla, and walked out over bumpy ground. Unbelievable.
What you couldn't do before?
I was skeptical. I was so skeptical. I am not skeptical anymore.
That's awesome. Thank you. There's also a little girl, she's about 10 or 12 or about that age at Acapulco. She banged her nose and her dad says she's a bleeder. So if she does start bleeding, it often is very hard to stop. And by the time I saw her, it had already been bleeding for like an hour and a half. It was just constantly just bleeding out of her nose. And we put the Tesla on her for about 10 minutes. And actually we didn't think it worked because it was still bleeding. And then they said, well, I guess we'll just go to the hospital. And they started to walk out to the car and it stopped bleeding. And probably because of the Tesla. Like, it's so incredible. Anyway, well, I should mention we've got the Crypto Vigilante Summit coming up on September 12th. I'll be on there and so many incredible people like Francisco Cabanas, who's a Monero Core team member. That guy's a super, super smart guy. I've met him numerous times. They'll be talking all about privacy coins. You're going to need these things in the future to survive financially. And because people are going to need them, they're probably going to rise in value dramatically. So you should, this is basically like the top summit on privacy coins in the world. Like, this has all the smartest people. The Crypto Vigilante analysts themselves are some of the smartest people. They've been into Monero since it was like 10 cents. They've been into Bitcoin since it was below $1. They're mining it. And they're all about privacy coins now. And so that's another thing that in a few years, like maybe 3-5 years, we'll look back and go, oh, why didn't I listen to Jeff on Monero and Pirate Chain and all these things? Well, listen now and go to tcvsummit.com. And just like with LibraPoco, you can get the replays. You don't have to watch it all that day. But get the best information from the smartest people in this stuff. And get the LibraPoco replays as well. You can go to librapoco.com. Incredible, incredible talks. Anyway, I think I can go into this Acropolis thing now. I think we're supposed to go in around this time. I don't see my family yet. See if I go find them. And then we'll wrap this up. Oh, wait, who do I see sitting over here? He's a happy little guy. Oh, he's ready to go. Want to go see the Acropolis? All right, we'll head in and yeah, I think I'll leave it there. We'll be moving on from Athens like tomorrow. I'll actually be doing the TCV Summit from our next location. So that's the next time that anyone will hear from me is on that. So I highly recommend you get on that. If you're into crypto at all, or if you want to get into crypto, like a lot of people go and spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars in college and stuff. To know all about the privacy coin space and know what's going on and what the opportunities are and what's best and who's doing what and how to use it and all that kind of stuff. This is worth more than like most college educations. And I think it's like $100. Like it's so cheap. And it's a full day on it that you can watch on your own time. Highly recommend you get it. Also highly recommend you get the LibraPoco replays. And yeah, I'm gonna go in here and see what's going on.
Alonso, no te pases.
Look through the smoke, you'll see the gears. A face on the screen, but it feeds on our fears. The war's on us, it's in our homes, in the wires and the words and the cold gray drones. A beast in the system, a fire in the sky. It's not a question of when, it's a matter of why.